Hey everyone, welcome to our video that we'll be doing today. I'm going to be doing not necessarily an analysis on Bitcoin. I'm going to be looking at the market structure, talking about how collapses happen and what's happening in the market today. So I guess you could consider this a current analysis, but this video is intended to be, educational. It's not intended to be an analysis on the market. It's not going to be analysis to say that, Bitcoin's going to $60,000 or that Bitcoin's going to $1,000. It's not going to be analysis of sorts like that. What we're going to be taking a look at is the leverage of the market. We're going to be talking about the leverage, how it affects the market, and also taking a look to see, what happens when leverage goes too high, and what happens when leverage, kicks off and goes by the wayside. All right, so of course, as always, this isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just giving my opinion on the market here. So you're responsible for doing your own trades and managing your own risks and doing your own research. But this is intended just to be an educational piece. What I want to look at here. First off, I've got a pretty big view of Bitcoin here. I've got my longs and then I've got my shorts, and we can see where shorts, get to all-time lows, and then also when longs get to all-time highs, and what happens when things fall off a cliff and go in the opposite direction. All right, so basically what we have here, we've got our all-time high. This is in December of 2017, and then we have our low all the way down here at the bottom of at 2018, in December 2018. So one thing that I want to point out is I'm going to move myself out here, going all the way back to when, basically where leverage started, at least being posted on Bitfinex. So, I am looking at the BitMEX chart as far as price action goes, because that does tend to be the market leader, generally speaking. But the leverage, I'm looking at the only place that really shows longs and shorts, and what the open interest is in each one of those directions, and that's Bitfinex. So one thing that we can see back here, we started with being about 15,000 Bitcoin long, and over here about 17,000 Bitcoin short. So it was pretty much 1 to 1. We were pretty even on this front. Probably will make maybe make an adjustment to this that'll show basically where we are in relation to the average. But for right now, I'm just showing the longs and just showing the shorts. And you can see, we have our longs that we're moving up, right? And so, let's take a look at the price action. When longs were increasing, the price was going up. And at the same time, shorts were decreasing as the price was going up as well. So shorts were closing, which was fueling this, and also longs were opening, which was fueling the rise. And this is back when Bitcoin was only about $5,800. All right, then what we saw, at that point, Bitcoin was making an all-time high. So naturally, what's going to happen? Shorts are going to start closing, and longs were also closing. Or sorry, shorts were closing. So longs were closing, shorts were closing, but the price was moving sideways. That was pretty bullish. That was pretty bullish for Bitcoin to continue moving sideways while longs were closing, which should take the price down, because in order to close a long position, you have to sell. And in order to close a short position, you have to buy. So as longs were closing and shorts were closing, the price was just moving sideways. Then all of a sudden we saw a spike up. So as the price continued to go sideways, all of these people that had closed out these long positions, somebody decided in the amount of a day, we went from 21,000 up to about 28,000. So a significant amount of Bitcoin was open in a long position, and more shorts closed. And that took us higher and higher. Okay, so now when we get down here to this bottom, what did we see? So when we got to this point, we saw lots of shorts that started to close. So as shorts were closing, this price was moving down, then we had a nice bottom here. And of course, we get all the way up to our all-time high, which longs at this time were basically touching the previous high that they had at about 38,000, or sorry, 33,000 Bitcoin. We had that back here when Bitcoin was making an all-time high. And then we also had it over here hitting that same level when Bitcoin was hitting its all-time high again. All right. So then let's move forward just a little bit here. The reason why this price moves down and can move down so sharply is because people can see that people are getting over leveraged in the market. At least here, if you're taking a look at the Bitfinex long chart, you can see that as the price is going up, longs keep going higher and higher and higher. So that is an indication that people are getting over leveraged, so it would be very easy to drop the price. And I was talking about this very specifically with Matic just a couple days ago. I was talking about seeing distribution occur. And in this case, longs were getting over leveraged. Shorts were just, kind of hanging out there. They were pretty average at this particular level. And shorts were actually closing. Shorts were closing, and that would be, as shorts are closing, as the price is going down, it would make sense. But now longs were closing as well, which was fueling this price to go down. Now let's just take a look here for a moment. From this price right here, I'm going to go ahead and mark up this chart here for a moment. So we can see right here, the longs were starting to increase. That was getting us this this spike in price. Now the longs, gradually went up, but now longs went back down to basically where they were. But look at how much deeper the price went. Now what happened here is we had, a lot of retail that went into the market at this point in time. And people could see this happening. We were getting a blow off top. And when that happens, you don't have the people to buy to create the liquidity to keep the price up. And it was very obvious on this move down, and I say this because hindsight's always 20/20, when we had this massive move down, but then your leverage long positions only reset, they didn't go lower than where they previously were. People are starting to, to get scared in their positions, which caused another sell-off, and then eventually caused another massive sell-off. And as this price is going down, you can see longs is actually steadily increasing in price. But what I want to focus on right now, I want to actually focus on what the price action is doing at right now, and also what it was doing at the bottom. So you can see as we are moving ourselves down in this bear market, we get all the way down here to the bottom, and let's take a look and see where shorts were. Shorts were at an all-time high down here, 41,800 Bitcoin in a short position as the price was all the way down here. Okay, so shorts were at an all-time high when we were down here at the bottom. This is an indication that we are getting over leveraged in short positions, and we are eventually going to see a short squeeze. Okay, now we know when that happened. We know that happened over here on April 2nd. It took time for this to happen, but what we're seeing, we see lower high after lower high after lower high after lower high. Then eventually it took this massive move up to get us to more of a bullish sentiment. We started to sort of pierce it right here. As you can see, we had our price action moving up and up and up, and it was this level right here where shorts were closing and longs were closing, but the price was spiking up. This was an indication that we are starting to create a formation where we are about ready to break out to the upside. But of course, the market sentiment was still extremely bearish. We had our all-time high for shorts here as well, and then as far as long positions, we were at 35,000. So, it was a little bit of a indecisive market when we were down here at the bottom, but shorts being at their all-time high when we had just dropped off 50% from where we were, that's an indication that market psychology is going to go in the opposite direction, and we are going to start a trend to the upside, and that's what happened. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to go down to a 4-hour time frame. I want to take a look at what the leveraged positions are doing on Bitcoin right now, because everybody is talking about this, and I want to talk about what my thesis is for what's happening in the market. So let's just take a look and see where these long positions opened. So we can see it started right here. So let me go ahead and mark this off. This is basically where our leveraged long positions started opening. Okay, so from right here, then we had a massive drop off, and then we had more longs opening. Lots of longs were opening in this price range right here. So let's go ahead and mark this off so we can see what's actually happening here. So from right here down to right here, this is where we had the majority of these longs opened. Now, we are still within that range. Longs continue to open inside of this entire range here, which is important for us to understand. All these longs are opening in this range, in this trading range between 66.75 and 78.25. This is the range where all of these longs open, which is important for somebody to realize. If we break this low, these longs are likely going to trigger stop losses. Now, let's take a look at this from another market psychology standpoint. If I know that there are people that are over leveraging themselves on a long position, and if the price goes down and hits this level at 66.50, 6600, what is going to happen? These are going to hit their stop losses more than likely. Some of them likely won't, because some of them probably did get a good entry down here at 66, 66.50 or so. It's very likely that some of them did get a really good entry down here. But we can see a lot of them opened above 69.50. So 69.50 to 7,000 is likely where there is going to be a decent amount of panic if we break down below that level. And if you've been watching any of my other videos, just a side note unrelated, I've been talking about 5,800 for a long time. But if I know that people are over leveraged in this range and we break this range, ask me if I'm going to be sitting there waiting to catch a falling knife. I will not be there waiting to catch a falling knife. I'm going to wait and see what the reaction is going to be. And that mentality that I just outlined there is extremely important, because that is what smart money does. Smart money doesn't catch a falling knife. Smart money moves markets. And that is also important. So they're going to wait to see where the price stops instead of waiting to see if they can catch that falling knife. That's not what smart money does. So with the smart money not sitting there waiting to catch a falling knife, well, that creates less liquidity in the market. So that's also what creates massive, massive sell-offs. Okay, and so again, what that generally means there, if we do get a sell-off on Bitcoin, at this point in time here in the middle of December of 2019, if we do get a sell-off on Bitcoin, it is going to go deep, just because of the lack of liquidity in the market. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily if you're in a position you should look to sell, but I do think that you need to be very careful, because this is a risky market. It's very possible that this price just skyrockets from here. It is possible that we just bottomed, but with the amount of longs that are mounting up on Bitfinex right now, we do have to be very careful. And I would be very, very skeptical of placing bids below 6,800 right now, right away. I'd be very careful doing that, because again, if there are, you can see we went from all the way down here at the bottom, which was 25,000 Bitcoin, and we are all the way up here at 41,000 Bitcoin. So we're talking a significant amount of Bitcoin. 16,000 Bitcoin is in a long position that opened in this range. Okay, once this 16,000 Bitcoin decides to cover their position, this price is going to drop. Just imagine if you held 16,000 Bitcoin and you market sold, what's going to happen to the market? 16,000 Bitcoin is going to drop the price significantly. If we went to Coinbase, you can easily see how much the price would move if you were to sell so much. And 16,000 Bitcoin is probably the 24-hour volume on Coinbase right now. It's probably double what the daily volume on Coinbase is right now. I don't have the metric right now, but I would venture to say that 15,000 Bitcoin is probably 2 days worth or more of the 24-hour volume on Coinbase. If these positions all cover, the price is going to drop significantly. Now, again, we have just created a significant low down here. Okay, so we have retraced a significant amount, but these longs just mounting higher and higher and higher is concerning, and we're just continuing to climb. We are at an all-time high on longs right now. Even if we go all the way back here to where we had our previous highs, which are down here, and you can see, this is actually another really good example. When we hit this level right here, we had basically just done a bounce, and at this level right here, people were opening positions. okay, and the price went sideways, more positions were mounting, and then right here we had all of these positions close, which dropped the price even lower. Okay, we dropped the price even lower. Got a line chart. I don't have my candlesticks on here, so I don't have the actual low that we got to. But if this happens again, we are going to likely go lower. And now where that lands us, that still remains to be seen. But if there's no smart money waiting down here to buy, the only thing that you have a hope for in this case is people that shorted up here that are waiting to cover their short positions, which means they would have to buy, right? People waiting to open or rather close their short position, again, likely around 5,800 to 6,000. But if this price does fall over and starts to go down, it won't take much for the price to fall drastically. But again, generally speaking, I would rather wait for a bounce at 5,800 to 6,000 before trying to catch that knife there, because looking at 15,000 Bitcoin on a move down, that could be bad, and it's all psychology. It's the fact that everybody's looking at all these longs opening, everybody's getting very bearish. So I'm not saying to sell here. I'm also not saying to buy here. And I did a video earlier today to discuss what my opinions are on Bitcoin today are. But in this consolidation range right here, I would guess that we are probably going to go lower. And I've been talking about this at this point, it's probably been weeks. I've been talking about us going lower down to this 5,800 level. And if we do get this panic sell-off, this is likely going to happen. We will likely have a little bit of capitulation down here. It will probably happen pretty fast. So if we capitulate to 5,800 and then we find ourselves all the way back here at 7,000, extremely bullish. Extremely bullish. But if these longs continue to stay high and they continue to go higher and higher and higher, that is concerning for me, and I will be watching to see when a significant amount of these longs start to cover their position and close the long position. So this is what generates easy ways for markets to sell off when they're not liquid. Like Bitcoin is the most liquid asset, in my opinion, in the crypto atmosphere, but by nature it is extremely illiquid. There is easy ways to manipulate this market. Therefore, all it's going to take is a couple people, unfortunately, to just pull their orders, right? They can put in buy orders deep here in the order book, but if those orders go away, very easy for this price to go down, and these longs, easy for them to get wrecked. Because if this price does roll over and there's nobody here to buy when these long positions are trying to close out of their position, that's just going to accelerate. And as stop losses hit, yada yada yada, that will cause the markets to fall even more. So I would be very careful if we do break below 7,000, if we break below 6,900. I would be very careful. Right now we're sitting right on support. And so we need to see some follow through on this. And it is possible we do see some follow through here, but these longs are eventually going to cover their position. I don't know that these positions are in it for the long haul. We'll have to wait and see. But again, just a real quick educational video on the leveraged market and how that works. So hopefully you got a little bit out of this. I did want to keep it 20 minutes or less. But of course, we're looking to increase our user base on our community Discord. So if you need an invite, just go ahead and throw in a comment, and I'll get you an invite code. It doesn't cost anything. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you have any comments, feel free to throw them in there. I'm more than happy to have debates with anybody. And wherever you are in the world, hopefully you're having a good day.